NewsNation Now.
Studios. It is November 11th, 2020, and we are focused on Veterans Day here at News Nation. You're taking a look at some video from Marky Martin's story last night, highlighting a very cool nonprofit endeavors that is looking to make a difference in homeless veterans across our country. I want to bring in the CEO right now of Endeavors, John Allman. John just so happens to be my cousin as well. So, cuz, welcome into News Nation.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
All right, we're going to talk about Endeavors here in a moment, but John, first off, and I want to give a little bit of insight into, I guess, our family. Growing up, I knew that John was in the Air Force. I knew that my cousin was fighting for our country, and it meant a lot to me. But for you on Veterans Day, John, what does this day mean to those who have fought for our country, defended our country, and are really making a difference for the safety of our country?
You know, those who are fighting in arms and in harm's way have this sense of collegial relationship with each other. And I think about all of those who served together with me and all of those just across the centuries who have served our nation. And I have to tell you, Aaron, it's humbling when I see, especially those that have given their lives for the freedoms that we now enjoy so much in our country. And it's an honor to have served. We enjoyed serving. And just as well, we also respect the sacrifice that military families make every single day when their veteran uh, is out there serving in harm's way as well.
Tell me your story, John, about how you decided to join the Air Force. I know that you mentioned family. Serving our country was in your family.
That's right. My dad served. That's right, Aaron. My dad served. My grandfather served as well. Grandfather served in World War I. He was a blacksmith in France. My father was in the U.S. Marine Corps. He was in Okinawa back in the late 50s and early 60s. And certainly, growing up in a small town next to an Air Force base in Arkansas, when I was out hunting and fishing, I would see those planes flying overhead. And I have to say that inspired me, along with that sense of duty that my father and my family instilled in me, to look further into that. And so that's what I did, joining Air Force ROTC at the University of Arkansas. I had several leaders in that organization that encouraged me to do certain things and put in my path the ability to be a pilot in the Air Force. Later went to pilot training and served 20 years as a pilot. Really enjoyed my time, but also really enjoyed being part of a greater effort than anything else I could be in.
What's the sense of responsibility for those that are serving our country day to day? When you were there for 2 decades, how much responsibility did you feel for those of us here in the United States?
It's an overwhelming sense of responsibility, and it can be overwhelming at times for a lot of veterans and people who are in public service, for that matter. I think many of us understand that the basic freedoms that we enjoy set on a teeter-totter, and we just want to make sure that there's a balance between how we defend and how we see the sacrifice of so many things that our country is built on, and the freedoms that we're able to enjoy here on a daily basis here in the United States. So yeah, I would say overwhelmingly that sense of responsibility is felt by every veteran, and frankly their family member too.
John, this is something you and I have not had a chance to talk to around the Thanksgiving table, but I'm interested in the year 2000. There was an attack on the USS Cole in Yemen. When did you get the call, and when did you realize that you were going to have to fly, and inevitably those who were injured, you were going to have to fly to safety? What was that moment before the attack like?
Well, frankly, it was a humbling experience. At the time, I was in a squadron in Germany. I was flying a DC-9s at the time, which is air medevac for the the European theater. And I have to say that when my colleagues and I first got the call that something could be coming, we were immediately put into an alert status and sent home so that we were rested and able to perform and respond correctly and appropriately. You know, there were 17 people that were killed in the USS Cole attack in Aden, Yemen. It was an unprovoked attack, senseless terrorist attack by Al Qaeda, and I have to say that Our 300 crew members, our Navy crew members that were there on a refueling mission in the port of Aden had no idea it was happening. It was the first terrorist attack of that scale prior to 9/11. Our country didn't have an overwhelming strong response at the time. That didn't happen until 9/11. But from a personal perspective, when we were flying that mission, we knew it was something important. We were employing one of the first combat capabilities of the Critical Care Air Transport Action Team, which is a medical team of folks that are specialized in treating burns and other challenges that those 37 injured crew members had. And we were able to combine our resources, even though it was beyond our range of the DC-9. We stopped in Cairo along the way in Aden, Yemen. We had other refueling stops and had several crews ready to go to pick up those folks and bring them back to Germany. And because of those efforts and the absolutely heroic efforts by the USS Cole crew led by Kurt Lippold, those 37 injured folks lived.
How much pride do you have knowing that you responded to a terrorist attack where 17 people died, but more than 36 survived because you and your team were able to get them to safety?
You know, I think it really speaks to the team, Aaron. At the end of the day, that's what the Air Force, the armed services are. And that's why I'm so proud to serve where we are today at Endeavors. We are a large team. We don't see differences between us. We don't have any challenges with that at all. We see ourselves as being able to advocate on behalf of people who are in a very vulnerable situation. And certainly that happened with the USS Cole. So I love that aspect of teamwork, and it's what drives me.
Let's talk about Endeavors a little bit. And you and I know the stories inside our family about how difficult it can be to fight overseas and then come home and have so many questions about what's next. It seems like that's really what Endeavors is focusing on, in making sure that we take care of those who have served our country in a time where they need us.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. So many veterans transition, literally thousands of them transition. They're very young. They stop whatever service they happen to be in. They may only have enough money to make it a few months before they're already in a position to need rental assistance or utility assistance for housing. And that's where Endeavors comes in. We work on behalf of the VA. We're one of many providers across the United States that helps give rental and utility assistance to veterans, especially during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are also partnered with the Stephen A. Cohen Foundation. And let me say, these folks at the CVN network are absolutely incredible. 25 clinics they are standing up across the U.S. We are fortunate and blessed in Texas to operate 3 of those clinics in Killeen, San Antonio, and El Paso. But the Cohen Veteran Network, with their large network of what will be 25 clinics across the U.S., is doing absolutely great work for our veterans and their family members. About half the folks that these clinics see are family members. So that's the mental health capability that's going on across the United States. Stephen Cohen is a hedge fund manager. He on his own gave the largest single donation in the history of the Department of Defense from a private funder. He wrote a check for $275 million
Wow.
to stand up 25 clinics across the U.S., and they're very close to be completed.
John, how important is homelessness among veterans?
Oh, it's incredibly important right now. In fact, we had large challenges with unemployment across the United States as COVID-19 started back in early March. The country started to shut down. We still had thousands of veterans that were transitioning back to mainstream life during that period. It didn't just stop. The floodgate continued. Didn't just stop. It continued. And we had lots of folks that were in need of this type of assistance. And that's why we are excited that our legislators recognize this. And as part of CARES Act funding, we literally doubled the amount of money that we are pushing out to veterans and their family members for housing. It's such an important thing right now. And we also have philanthropic support that's helping where the government doesn't carry the entire load. There are great people out there that are willing to give to help veterans to have the housing. So It's absolutely critical, especially during this time of COVID-19.
No doubt about it, John. We thank you for not only your service, buddy, but also for what you're doing with those veterans who need us now. And I think that's a very important part in Endeavors, is understanding that we do need our servicemen and women, but sometimes they need us too. And I think Endeavors is kind of pointing that out.
Yeah, and let me just say, Aaron, that people who serve do it with a passion, and they do it with a sense of helping. So it's not easy for them to, after they transition, to consider the idea that other people can help them. To have that benefit from the U.S. government through the Veterans Administration to help with housing is a big deal. And
Yeah.
we have to explain to them that it is a benefit. It is not a charity handout. It is a benefit, and they need to take advantage of that. So that's one of the biggest struggles we have, along with mental health services. The ability of someone to ask for that helping hand. We encourage them. We want to be part of their healing process. And now with our Veteran Wellness Center concept that we're starting here in Texas and will hopefully go across the United States, we want that to be part of a lifestyle change so that they can live a well and well thought out life.
There's no doubt about that. And I'm going to show, I don't know, can you see me on your screen, John?
I can't, but I can
Oh,
see the
that's
video.
okay. Well, I was going to show you a picture of our Uncle Curtis, who is sitting on Santa's lap. I love showing this picture each and every Veterans Day. It shows such a jovial side of our uncle who served in Vietnam.
Yeah, and I do have to say, Aaron, I'm glad you said that. I'm inspired by our mom's brothers. They were called up at a very young age to go to Vietnam, and when they came back, they didn't receive the type of help that they needed. And that unfortunately ended up in a lot of stress in their life and PTSD, which led to alcoholism for one of our uncles, and eventually led to them taking their life. And so I have to say that part of my reason for being here is our own family situation. Both you and I have dealt with this with our uncles who served at a very young age in Vietnam.
There's no doubt about it. Uncle Dale, Uncle Curtis, I knew Curtis very well. If you're just joining us as we wrap up here, the reason why we're talking about family is because John and I are cousins, and we share some uncles out there. John, thanks,
We
buddy.
do.
I
We do.
appreciate you
Thank
taking
you.
the time.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. John Allman from Endeavors. We appreciate you taking the time there. And really all the veterans out there. We showed one picture of our uncle, John and I's uncle. But I tell you what, if you have any pictures of servicemen or women that you would like to share with us on News Nation, we'd love to showcase some of those pictures tonight on WGN America, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central, as we host News Nation. Again, once you go to in the service, you're always in the service, you're always a veteran in our heart, and thank you so much as we honor veterans on this day. Have a great afternoon.